Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And just for everybody's information, we're in this setting tonight because we have a council meeting and then we're going to transition right away to a work session. And our work sessions are usually in this format, and it makes it very easy for conversations with our applicants as we continue to work towards the items that we need to give staff direction for. So that's why we're in this setting this evening for our council meeting. The next item on the agenda is the announcements and proclamations. We have no proclamations, but our announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, September 4th at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, September 18th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session that's scheduled for Tuesday, September 11th at 5:30 p.m. We're also in the midst of our budgets, and the schedule for our meetings for Truth and Taxation. We will adopt the maximum tax levy on Tuesday, September 4th at 5:30. We have department budgets presentation on Tuesday, October 23rd at 5:30. We have a budget work session on Tuesday, November 13th at 5:30, and another budget work session on Tuesday, November 27th at 5:30 p.m. And then we adopt the budget and the tax levy on Tuesday, December 4th at 6 p.m. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda, not an application form that is going to be coming before us at a future date. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form? Anyone? Seeing no one, we will move on. The next item on the agenda is the additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. Ms. Hardy, are there any emergency items to come before the body?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the council, any emergency items? No. Thank you. We now move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item can be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on the consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Anyone? Ms. Hardy?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council? Okay, may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please?
Move to approve.
Councilmember Gustafson makes the motion, second by Councilmember Keeley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. We now move on to the first item on the regular agenda, and that is item number 5. And item number 5 is a public hearing. And this is a resolution for a grant host approval for Fairview Private Activity Bonds refunding. Ms. Kelly Stry, our Finance Director, is presenting. Ms. Stry, thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Fairview Health Services has requested that the city give our approval for host agreement or host approval for issuance of revenue bonds. They're issuing bonds with the city of Minneapolis, so these are not bonds being issued by the city of Burnsville or issued by Fairview using the city of Burnsville's tax exempt authority. They are for the city of Minneapolis. And because the bonds will be used to refund projects that exist here in Burnsville, there's just a regulation that requires Burnsville's approval of this. Craig Root, Director of Treasury for Fairview, is here if you have questions for Fairview. Otherwise, I stand for questions.
And these are things that's not new to us. We have done many of these in the past where another city is doing the bonding, and because it has an impact on any assets that are within our community, they just need us to also approve the refunding of their bonds. Any questions for Ms. Stride? Okay, thank you. I will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Members of the council, your pleasure.
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Keeley makes the motion.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Schultz. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you very much. The next item is to approve an application for E&R Investments LLC for a plan unit development amendment to construct a new 4-story temperature-controlled self-storage building at 14450 Nicollet Court, and to approve the PUD amendment and to adopt the findings of fact and the ordinance. Presenting this evening is Ms. Deb Garros, our city planner. Ms. Garros.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. This application is before council this evening because the Planning Commission did not have a unanimous vote on the application. It was a vote from 4-1 to recommend approval of the planned unit development, so therefore it needs to come to council for your review. The application is for a planned unit development amendment. Basically, 2 items are being requested related to the code, and those are deviations. One would be to allow a height over 35 feet, which they're proposing about 46 feet, plus or minus. And the other one is to allow the land use of mini storage as opposed to the current PUD over the property, which has office use. Just briefly, the subject site is in the Golden Triangle. That is right in the southern area that where 35W and 35E come together. In terms of PUD deviations, we just talked about those. The benefits, the top 3 benefits are that they are providing much more green space in terms of overall green space within the parking area, and building perimeter landscaping, very much above and beyond what the ordinance standard is. The other item that is a PUD benefit is the site has been zoned and looking for office for over 30 years. There's not been an interested party that's come in since 2001. This applicant was before council back in May for concept review for the mini storage site, and they are proceeding with that application. The site plan is fairly straightforward. There is the 104,000 square foot, 4-story building. It's a self-storage building, and is also, everything is secured internally. There's no outdoor loading or outdoor storage involved with the site. They do have a 14 parking stall parking lot, and on the northeast corner and also the southern part south of the building, there will be 2 stormwater infiltration basins that are proposed for the property. They have a very nice landscaping plan. All of their plans meet or exceed ordinance standards in terms of setbacks, in terms of the types of landscape materials and trees that they are proposing, etc. When the item came before the city council back in May, the instruction of the council was to have the applicant go back and put together a plan that was somewhat similar to another project they had in Eden Prairie. And as you can see, the lockup is on the the top left-hand part of the screen, and the proposal is on the other part of the screen. Again, the 4 stories, they're showing an a glass tower in the north corner. This would be for the bird's eye southeast facade. This is what you would see along Highway I-35E, and then the bottom one is along 35W. The recommendation is to approve the project, subject to the 7 conditions that are outlined. That was recommended by the Planning Commission on a 4-to-1 vote. The no vote was from Commissioner Banky, who felt that there are a number of mini storage facilities already in the city. He felt that with the County Road 42 study, there may be a higher and better use for the property, and also in terms of the building design, thought that there could be additional enhancements, adding windows, perhaps some additional colors and different types of materials to make it more appearing like an office. And with that, I am here to stand for questions. The applicant, Greg Hayes, is also here if council would like to ask them any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions for Ms. Garros? Question for Ms.
good stuff.
Garros? Okay. Anyone wants to look at the building? Can you just pull it up again and show us what that visual appeal is going to be from the freeway? So that view on the bottom
On the bottom,
right?
this would be if you were traveling southbound on 35E. What you would see first is the
tower, the glass?
The glass, yes. And then, oops, went the wrong way, I'm sorry. And then on the bottom, this is what you would see traveling along I-35 from
Going
north
going
to
north?
south. Yes.
Okay, and so Commissioner Benke was looking to see that there could be more glass on this side of the building?
He had indicated that overall, he thought that more glass would add to the appearance
Visual
of it being
appeal.
more of it as an office. He also had suggested that there may be an opportunity to use a different type of glass in the window so that when you look through, you don't see the storage lockers, if you will, but there could be a reflective type glass used where you wouldn't have that, you wouldn't be
Yeah, and
able
we've
to see
seen that
inside
in
the
other
building.
buildings where it is storage, or I think, what's the jewelry store that's an outbuilding at the mall?
Jared
Jared,
Jewelers.
it has some of that glass, so that there was more glass than, instead of, and I know we also did that with CVS, because they need shelving, and so it had glass.
Yes. The applicant had indicated that based on the elevations, when you're actually driving by the building, especially on 35W, that elevation, you would be able to see a little bit more because it sits well above the highway. On I-35E, you really come down to this point, and there are existing trees in front of, they're actually located within the right-of-way of MnDOT, and then you get to the site and that opens up. But basically, their concepts that they provided in the information in the packet do show elevations, and they had looked at providing the windows primarily on the top 2 floors because that is actually what will be most visible from passersby.
Yeah, this is a significant site for Burnsville. It's no different than the site on the north end that comes into the city, that's on River Hill Circle, that used to be the Select Inn, I think it was called at one time. So this is a significant site. And so when you looked at it, and from the visual appeal from the freeway, does it look great? I mean,
From
it's a
staff
significant
opinion,
site, and you need
yeah.
a significant
Yeah.
building coming into Burnsville.
We do believe from a staff perspective that they have met the intent of having it look similar to the Eden Prairie example, yes.
Okay, very good. Any questions from anyone else? Councilmember Keely?
Just a comment, I think we probably mentioned this at our last work session meeting, but the property's been sitting vacant for 30 years,
Yeah.
waiting for something, and we had hoped, and I know there were some comments from Planning Commission that an office go there, but, you know, I don't know how long a city has to wait for an investment to come in, but 30 years is way long enough. I think this based on access. I mean, visibility is incredible, but access is maybe not as incredible. So I think this is a great use of a triangular shaped piece of land that's stuck in the, in the cross of two interstates. And looking at this elevation in our background, the Planning Commission's background, where they sort of mock the building up from a sight line, probably Google Maps, it does look great. It's, you get the windows across the top, you get those larger window blocks on the corner, and, this is one of the best-looking self-storage places I think I've seen in a while. So I'm fully supporting as it's presented, and thank you for the extra green space and all the other things. I mean, it's not too many times that we have an applicant come through, and they're far exceeding the green space that we would like to see. Usually it's the other way around. We're negotiating to try and give up because they want some other things and we want some other things, so it's a workout. This is really a good fit. It's a great project, and it's a good-looking building.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Schultz. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you very much. And good luck. Thank you. I will now recess the Burnsville City Council meeting so that the Economic Development Authority meeting can convene. President Gustafson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll now call to order the Economic Development Authority. Note that all commissioners are present. Are there any additions to the final agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 2, which is the consent agenda, was the approval of the minutes. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Keeley, motions, Commissioner Coughlin seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. We move on to the regular agenda, which is a public hearing. It's a resolution approving purchase and development contract between the Burnsville Economic Development Authority and Rohr's Burnsville Apartments LLC, and approving the conveyance of land contained therein. And Skip Nienhaus is presenting.
Thank you, Mr. President. The item before you is a resolution to sell what we commonly refer to as the AAA land. The parcel is located in heart of the city, directly abutting our heart of the city parking deck and the Ames Center. As the EDA is well aware, we've had a long history with the AAA parcels. Back in 2001, we bought a much larger parcel from AAA. We have done some development ourselves on it. This last parcel has come before you a couple of different times for approval, and unfortunately, each time, right as we got to the altar, things went asunder. The current proposal from Rohr's Company is an apartment complex of approximately 138 units, a number of amenities, and 1,500 square feet of retail. They will begin construction within 6 months after closing and complete construction within 18 months after closing. The apartments will range from $950 on the low end for a junior suite up to $1,550 on the high end for a 2-bedroom apartment. And the offer on the table is for $515,000. This is a rendering that they supplied us of the possibility of what it could look like. They have not gone through the planning process yet, and you should expect that there could be changes as they go through the planning process. Last week at the EDC meeting, the Economic Development Commission unanimously recommended that the EDA recommend approval. Staff is also recommending approval. I would stand for any questions. The developer is here, and I would remind Mr. President this is a public hearing.
Are there any questions from commissioners? This is a public hearing, and are there any questions from anyone here in chambers with us? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and look for a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Couch, second by Commissioner Coughlin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and thank you very much, Skip, for
you,
your
Mr. President.
presentation. There's no miscellaneous items. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Commissioner Coughlin, second by Commissioner Keeley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I turn the meeting back over to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I will now reconvene the Burnsville City Council meeting, and there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Councilmember
Second.
Coughlin makes the motion, second by Councilmember Keeley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. We will recess for 5 minutes so that we can switch things over to the work session. Thank you, everyone. 5 minutes.